In, on, or at. Ugh, what a mess. But don't worry, it doesn't have to be so difficult. Let's have a look at some rules on when to use these prepositions in English. Now, before I start, the best thing you can do if you want to know which preposition to use is to start learning words in chunks in English. For example, don't learn the word morning, but learn the expression in the morning. Don't learn the word night, learn the expression at night. And if you start learning like this, then in the future, this will be a much easier topic for you because these expressions will sound normal. At night will sound normal for you, and in night will sound like, ugh, that's wrong. So that's my advice for the future, but let's have a look now at some very common situations where we always use in, on, and at in English. And to make this easier for you, I'm going to divide it into categories. So let's go. Talking about position then, when we have an enclosed space, a space with walls, with edges, with borders, like a box, we use the preposition in. Okay, I'm sitting in my car. The toy is in the box. My clothes are in the wardrobe. Is there any tea in that cup? In, because car, wardrobe, box, cup, they're all things with edges and borders. So just remember when we're talking about enclosed spaces, we use in. My phone is in my pocket. I read it in the newspaper. Yes, in the newspaper, in the book. It's kind of an enclosed space. It's enclosed when you open it, and there is where you read it. Now, we can also use in when we are talking about something that is enclosed by liquid. Do you want any milk in your tea? Milk in your tea. It's enclosed within the tea. Do you prefer swimming in the sea or in a swimming pool? In and in. Now be careful here, because in the sea is not the same as on the sea. Both are possible, but if you are on the sea, then you are in a boat. And if you are in the sea, then you are swimming. Now, this is a good example to explain when we use on. The boat is on the sea. We use on when we're talking about flat surfaces. Flat surfaces, and the position of the thing we are talking about is on that surface. So the lamp is on the shelf. My camera is on a tripod. A photo is on the wall. Hey, look at that bird on the roof. My bag is on the floor. The man is sitting on the bench. Can I have some extra pepperoni on my pizza? Okay, so just think flat surface, on. So when do we use at talking about position? Well, at the beginning, at the end. I read it at the beginning of the book. At the end of our holidays, we were sad to go home. Okay, so at the beginning, at the end, but in the middle, because the middle is enclosed by the beginning and the end. Now we can also say in the end. That expression exists, but it means the same as eventually or finally. For example, I was waiting for a bus for 1 hour and in the end, I got a taxi. One of my YouTube viewers asked me the difference between in the beginning and at the beginning. Well, we've already looked at the beginning, which is very common. In the beginning is a more religious expression and it refers to the beginning of time. In the beginning, there was nothing. And another common prepositions question that I get asked by my YouTube viewers is the difference between over, above, under, and below. And I've done a different video on that. So I recommend you watch that after this one. Okay, next category. So when we were talking about position, I talked about borders and edges. Now, this is true even if you can't see the borders. Like a city has borders, but you can't see them. Even some countries don't have physical borders that you can see unless you're looking at a map. So because countries and cities are enclosed, we use in. I was born in England. I live in Santiago. I'm recording these videos in my office, and my office is in my house. Now, be careful. A very, very common mistake is things like this. I am going in England. Have you ever been in America? I went in France last year. Now, although I said that countries take the preposition in, when we use the verb go, we always use to. Go to a place, go to a country. So I'm going to England. I went to France last year. Have you ever been to the United States? If you want to fix more very, very common mistakes that students just like you make all the time, then be sure to get my free book, English Quick Fix, and you can get that by clicking up there, and there's a link in the description too. Okay, talking about location, we use on when we are talking about a street. For example, I used to live on Thorndon Road, but if it's a specific address, then we use at. I used to live at 5 Thorndon Road. And we can use this rule of using at for a specific place in general. So I am at home right now. My wife is at school. She's a teacher. I saw you at the party. When we have lunch, we eat at the table. So when it's a specific place, we use at. Now, be careful. It's at the table because I'm talking about a specific place. It's not on the table, but on the table does exist because when we're talking about flat surfaces, then we can use on the table. You put your plate on the table, you put your drink on the table, but you sit at the table. Again, super common mistake, so get the book to fix more mistakes like this. So with on the table and at the table, you'll see that sometimes more than one preposition is possible. And another commonly confused one, because both are possible, I'm at the beach or I'm on the beach. Which one is correct? Well, if you say I'm at the beach, then you are talking about the specific location. Basically, you could be on the sand, in the sea, in a cafe. But we know that the location is that beach place. But if you say I'm on the beach, then we are specifically talking about the flat surface, the sand, and you are definitely on the sand if you say I'm on the beach. Okay, time is quite easy. Look at these examples. I met my wife in 2004. I was born in March. I love going on holiday in summer. So months, years, and seasons we use in. And also periods of the day. So in the morning, in the afternoon, and in the evening, with the exception, of course, of night. It's at night. Now, we use on when we're talking about a specific day, like Monday, Tuesday. I'll see you on Wednesday. But also days like my birthday, Independence Day. We're having a party on the 5th of August. Specific days and dates we use on. So just be careful there. It's in April, but on the 2nd of April. At. Well, we use at for periods of the year. A common one is Christmas. At Christmas refers to the period of Christmas. On Christmas Day, because it's a specific day, but at Christmas refers to that 2-week period around Christmas. And we also use at when we're talking about the time. I wake up at 7 o'clock. In England, we eat at noon. Noon is 12 o'clock, midday. And I go to bed at midnight. Easy. Okay, so we've talked about the enclosed space before. So I'm driving, where am I? I'm in my car. For a bike, you are on a flat surface, the seat, so you are on a bike. But for public transport, we use on. So I'm on a bus, on a boat, on a train, on a plane. And that's everything I have to say about transport. Not many people include internet when they're teaching prepositions, but I wanted to include this because it's something we talk about a lot, and it's a really, really easy rule to learn. When we're talking about anything related to the internet, use the preposition on. You're always on your phone. I put it on Twitter. I saw it on Facebook. Are you on Instagram? I teach English on YouTube. You learn English on YouTube. You can learn about my English courses on my website. I heard it on Spotify. I saw it on Netflix. It's a really easy rule. If you're talking about the internet, use on. As you know, there are hundreds and thousands of expressions in English, and a lot don't fall into the categories that I've mentioned today. So it's always a really good idea to learn English in chunks, groups of words, and that way you will be able to speak without making mistakes of prepositions and without having to translate and construct sentences word by word. So this technique of learning in chunks will help you speak more fluently and more accurately. Here are some expressions that don't really fall into the categories I've mentioned today. In time or on time, both are correct. You can learn the difference by watching that video. In the end, in conclusion, they are in love. It was love at first sight. The house is on fire. You're in trouble. I'm in a good mood. So expressions like this, just learn them as a group of words. Start doing that now, and the future will be much easier for you when you're using prepositions in English. Okay, so the next video you should watch is that one where I talk about the prepositions of over, under, above, and below. If you've liked this one, then blah de blah de blah, you know what to do, and I'll see you in that video next. Bye for now.